Ladies and gentlemen, this is your co-captain speak. Welcome to Elevate Airlines Flight 202 to your destination today. We are thrilled to have you with us. For your safety and comfort are definitely top priority. Please ensure your seatbelt is fastened low and tighten across your lap. You may experience some turbulence, but do not worry, your flight will be smooth sailing shortly after. Your seat belts and tray tables should be to the upright and locked position, and all electronic devices must be in airplane mode. In the event your cabin pressure changes, make sure you are ready to elevate. Masks will drop from overhead compartments. Put on your mask and make sure you help others after you put yours on. For your enjoyment, we offer a selection of in-flight entertainment and a variety of snacks and beverages will be available. Our friendly crew members are here to assist you with anything you may need help during your journey. Sit back, relax, enjoy your flight with Elevate Airlines. Thank you for choosing to fly with us today. We hope you have a pleasant journey. Are you guys ready to elevate? Make some noise! Okay, I need y'all to stand up. I want you to stand up on your feet. Get your phones out because we are now ready to take flight.
Do I have your attention? Do I have your attention? Do I have your attention? Do I have your attention?
I need y'all to clap to the beat. Let's clap. Let's clap and make some noise for the Our CEO and founder of the bakery co-work, Miss Skittles. Make some noise, let's dance, let's clap, let's have a good time. Let me hear y'all clap, let's clap, let's clap, let's clap, let's clap, 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 clap. Are you guys ready to elevate? Say yeah! No, I said, are you guys ready to elevate? Say, oh yeah! I'm super excited to introduce you to the one, the only, the dreamer behind the dream, Miss Skittles!
Okay, thank you, DJ. I really wanted to play Level Up, Level Up, Level Up. Hey guys, welcome to the bakery. Okay, I need more energy than that. Welcome to the bakery. I am truly excited for you guys to be here. I just want to let you know that you are literally standing in a dream come true. In the pandemic, I joined another co-working space in LA where I was racially profiled, and I honestly wanted to create a space for women no matter their color, their religion, or their political beliefs. I wanted to create a space where women can not only come and grow, but get the resources they need to truly grow their business. How many bakery members do I have in the building tonight? Make some noise! Any Girl Mom members? So I created these two communities because I wanted to make sure that we had a seat at the table. Oftentimes we go into rooms where we don't feel celebrated, where we don't feel welcome. And I wanted this to be the biggest, brightest building all over the world where you know that you can go for not only sisterhood, relationships, and resources. How do you feel today? Do you feel supported being here? I love that you guys all came out in pink. Obviously, that is my favorite color. But I think that in a male-dominated industry, oftentimes we have to show up in the black suits to be taken serious. And I really want to change the world to know that I am in my pink suit and I'm still making millions of dollars. We are still taking companies public. We are still scaling businesses 10 times more than the men. Okay? So we are here to do just that. Elevate. When I say elevate, y'all say elevate, 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 elevate. first special guest up. This is the live podcast for The Secret Recipe. If you guys haven't watched my podcast, make sure you check it out on everywhere podcasts are available. Today, I have a extremely special guest. This is not only my friend, but this is literally the only woman that I know that can send an email and have 4,000 people wrapped around the block to fill up a church just to hear her. This is the only woman that I know that has been killing it since Periscope days, okay? And I remember being on my earbed, writing the blueprint for the bakery, writing the blueprint for Girl Mob. And I called her, and I actually messaged her on Instagram, and I got her number, and I called her, and I'm like, hey, I'm in this situation, and I need to get off this earbed, what should I do? She said, it's all about community. You gotta get on Periscope, people need to hear your voice, you have so much knowledge, you need to start sharing it. And honestly, guys, that's how Girl Mob was birthed. It was literally me sitting, moving from my airbed to a dining room table, putting my phone up and going on Periscope and inspiring so many other women. And Tiffany Montgomery is literally changing lives, you guys. So let's make some noise, bring Tiffany to the stage. Keep clapping, make some noise. And this was a little split, but you know, when you got a prophet in town, you put it down, okay? Okay, so I wanted to start this conference off with this conversation because when I think about the bakery and when I think about all that I've done, I honestly can't attribute any of my success to no one but God. Like, on those deep, dark nights when I wanted to give up, like, don't cry, make it through this podcast. God helped me through it. And so, like, to see you transition from best-selling author, nail artist, conferences, and I remember we talked about your first conference, Millions Conference, to how impactful you are. Like, how was that journey for you? And like, how did you get to where you are now, being so bold and dynamic and just sharing your gifts worldwide?
How long I got to answer this question?
You got time.
Okay. So, first of all, I wasn't thrown into this. God grew me into it. And I think when you're talking about influence, because my influence grew, I have a lot of influence. And one thing about God is He wants to make sure you can steward the little bit of it good, and then as you can grow. For instance, Millions Conference right now is a conference for like entrepreneurs who are Christians specifically. And I could have 20,000 people there because our tickets sell out in like 3 weeks, right? 5 months before the conference. But because I want to make sure I do it in excellence at the level I can do it at, I don't focus on growth more than I do on, excellence. So that's the answer. I wasn't thrown into this. How did I get started? I got saved in my shower. So I've always been an entrepreneur. I was a 7 times Essence magazine bestselling author, including the #1 spot. I wrote hood fiction. Don't clap. Do not clap.
Hold on, we needed some hood fiction back in the day.
It was good. Okay, it was hood fiction back in the day. So good. But I was a Essence magazine bestselling author. I was a college dropout. I had a 1.7 GPA in high school. That's a D. D. I couldn't even graduate high school unless I took anger management class. Can you imagine? I'm so nice. I was so angry about having to take anger management class. Like the irony of it all. So I had to take this class, and it was in that class I learned how to write. Isn't it funny that the thing you think is like your downfall is the thing that puts you up? Like, all things really do work together for your good. And so I found myself in anger management class, but I also find that I have a gift of writing. I don't have to kill you in real life. I can just kill you in a book. I felt the same way. Relief. And so, y'all know y'all be wondering. Okay. That's right. And so I went on to write books, and they were extremely well. But here's the thing I think was beautiful about that was my only goal was to be an Essence magazine bestselling author because I thought it was so unattainable. And I never wanted to be a New York Times because I grew up a little black girl with Essence magazines in the house, so that was my New York Times. And I hit it with the first book in the first week.
Wow.
Yeah. And so because my goal was big to me but small to God, right? I got bored because I don't necessarily work for money, I work for fun. So I don't know how many of you are like me, like I turn down stuff all the time if it's not fun. I don't do anything for money. I like literally work for fun. If it's not fun, I'm not doing it. And so here now I am bored. And I just kept writing books and I kept hitting the bestsellers list. And then one day I quit in 2009. And I remember I was watching a show and there was this like mommy blogger making $40,000 a month talking about her kids all day. Now back in 2009, 2010, blogging wasn't like popular. So I happened to get into that game very early on. So by the time the pandemic hit, baby, I was sitting back with my legs kicked up, making plenty of money online because I'd already had 10 years of practice, you know? Then I get saved in my shower 2015. Come on. Exactly. Now you have to understand that there was a reason I took anger management class. It's because I would try to kill you in real life. You know what I'm saying? All jokes aside, I'm taking your head, it's going through a wall. I'm cutting you open with a knife. There's this one girl, she fought me when I was pregnant with my son. I know TMI. Girl, I said, I made a vow. I said, when I see her, I'm gonna carve my initials in her face so when she looked at the mirror, she would see me every day. I meant it.
Okay, everyone, hold on. Let's just stop because, you know, I hear a lot of judgment in the audience. And let's be very clear, when I hired my new HR manager, she was saying, she's like, Mary, I think we need to do background checks on all of the staff. I was like, including me? And she's like, yeah, if you're gonna start raising capital. I'm like, I went to juvenile 6 times. Is that on my record? So let's be real, we all had some things that we had to go get over, okay?
Honey, I had no shame, okay? I love my story. So, and the point is because I really had a sharp transition for that. So I got saved in my shower, August 2015, and immediately I am like, my mind is completely different. It was like an overnight transition. And why did I get saved in my shower? I was getting an abortion. And so instead of the baby getting sucked out this time, I had a pill. And that's when you do it at home. And so here I am getting an abortion in my shower, passing the clock, passing the baby, and I hear God speak to me in that moment. And I was like, this is not gonna be one of those moments you get saved because you did something that you in trouble. You know, I'm fully taking responsibility that I'm never getting saved. This is not my thing. And I heard God so clearly say, no, you're mine. So go ahead and leave all that. I'm taking you now. You know what I'm saying? And so I went straight from there. Like it was like my best friend for 20 years, I don't know where she at, but she's in here somewhere, right there. Okay, there she go. I remember she had a key to my house, and as soon as I got saved, God took me into a prayer and fasting ministry immediately. I would pray for 5 hours at a time. And I remember one day I couldn't answer my phone and she let herself in because my friends had the keys to my house. And she let herself in and she was like, I've been calling you, what is wrong? She looked at me, she said, you don't even look the same. What's wrong with you? And I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm saved now. And let me tell you how sharp my transition was. This is how I got people saved on accident. This is how much I fought. So a week after I got saved, I go to eat with some friends of mine. Somebody see me call me out my name, and I look at them and I keep eating. And my friend said, you didn't hear what she called you? And I go, yeah, she called me out my name. And she said, you're not gonna drag her? I said, no, I'm saved now. I don't think I'm supposed to fight no more. I think there's another way to handle situations. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm just gonna ignore her. And this girl was like this was the person you would say in life would never get saved. In that moment, she said, whatever church you went to that could make you not hit somebody, I wanna go. Whatever God you talked into, I wanna meet him. Can you imagine your life can change so aggressively? So then I still had this identity thing because I was still very much an entrepreneur. And now I'm saved. And I don't know about y'all, but I didn't see a lot of Christians that was making a whole lot of money. I don't know about you, but I'm like, I'm watching these other people who aren't saved making millions in a month. I'm watching Christians thanking God that their light bill got paid that month. And I'm like, we serve God that turned on the light outside, like the morning came on, and you are thanking God for a $30 light bill? It just wasn't making sense. The math wasn't mathing.
It's not mathing.
You know, we got girl math. The God math wasn't mathing. And so I I was like, what do I do? Now here's some type of background to that. In 2010, there was a lot of people in New Age in entrepreneurship. So you had a lot of people in New Age. They were making a lot of money, millions of dollars in a month, right? And a lot of people don't know, but your social media platforms, they hire hypnotists to keep you addicted to those platforms and things like that. And so even you talk about business intuitives, those are really psychics and things like that. And they get information from, you know, the other side. So it's not, they can still see and hear and sense. They're still accurate. They're just not God, right? They're not getting their source from God. That's why it tricks you so much. And so I was like, so if these people are evangelizing people spiritually through the tool of entrepreneurship, how much more could I evangelize people to God through the tool of entrepreneurship? So I still took my tool of entrepreneurship, and it brought so many people to God who weren't already in them. So that, I don't know if that answered none of her question or none of y'all questions, but that was my answer.
Yes, it definitely did. Y'all learned so much, right? Learned a lot and got inspired. So I think oftentimes when you are in business, and this is something that I struggle with very hard in the beginning of my entrepreneurship days, is like knowing that I pray to God, but not wanting to offend anyone and not talk about the works that He's doing in my life publicly. So I would just say things like, oh, I made it through. Like, I would be so scared to say God, and I realized that the moment that I started talking openly about, like, no, don't take credit for this word, this is God's word, that the blessings continue to flow in even harder.
And let me say this, I think this is powerful. I took such a hard turn from, because I would cuss in my brand. Like, I was cussing everybody out in my brand. And the next day I got saved. So there was no easing nobody into this. And so I remember people would email me and say, you lost a follower, you talk about God too much. And I'm like, imagine me not talking about the person who gave me breath in my nostrils to wake up this morning to not offend you. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Guess what? The same lady 3 months later emailed me and said, can you pray for me, because she had a brain tumor and they needed to cut her head open. And so what you have to realize is a lot of people use emotional manipulation to make you not talk about your God, because they want you to be quiet about it, but they're screaming about the universe, they're talking about their chakras, they're showing you their sage, like they're doing everything publicly, openly, and very loudly, but they want to point their finger and say, but don't you talk about your God. Why do they do that? Because your God has power, and every time you talk about it, it makes their pet demons get vexed.
In a minute, I'm gonna get off the stage and let her check. You know what? Put the Cover by God logo up here and just let me sit in the audience. What? I got questions. Okay, so for the women in the audience that are on the edge, right? They wanna commit. They want to give their lives. They wanna be more open about God, or they just want to develop that relationship. Where do they start? Because I think for me, first of all, you guys, I grew up with pastor and minister parents. So when you grow up that way, it immediately makes you not want to do anything that they're doing. Because in my mind, I'm like, we're homeless and you're praying. It's not working. Call the neighborhood drug dealer. Call somebody. They're driving by us. We are here praying. We have prayer mats and no heat. Like, this is not working out. What relationship do you have with them? And so it really caused me to struggle. And then also, like, 9th grade, my sister committed suicide. And this is the time that I felt like I was most committed. Like, I was in the church and I was doing youth, the youth sermons and all the things. I was on praise dance, and then that happens, and my grandfather dies, and so I was like, oh, God ain't thinking about me, so let me not think about him. He's thinking about all these people. I'm watching all the celebrities, everybody else getting blessed, so I'm not gonna spend time doing that. And that's when I feel like my entrepreneurship, that's when I feel like, okay, I gotta hustle, I gotta grind, I gotta do all these things. And honestly, I didn't really re-find him until I was on an airbed after I lost my company. I don't know if y'all ever been on the airbed. I have like really bougie people in here. But for those that have been on the airbed, it is the closest thing to the ground, okay? Especially if you keep it for a little while, starts deflating, then you just roll over and might as well be on your knees. So that's kind of how my relationship started. I was like, God, if you get me through this, I promise that I will tell everyone I know, not only about you, but I will be the person that I needed when I started my business. And so me doing the bakery and the work that I do with Girl Mom is not necessarily for me. It's because I made the promise to God. And I'm like, God, I love my life. I don't want to be on the airbed no more, so I'm going to continue to do this work. But how does someone develop that relationship without going through a traumatic experience?
Yeah, unfortunately, most people have to go through the traumatic experience because most people are hard-headed, right? And so for somebody in her case, where you come from a background of Christianity where they perverted the pulpit, they polluted the pulpit, then you want to make sure you start unlearning what you learned. Because I can almost guarantee, and I'm just going to make this assumption, you didn't study the Bible. That's right. And so normally when you do all the actions of Christianity, but you don't actually study the meat of it, then it's going to turn out this way anyway. And most people that go into the dark world or the dark arts or the occult or New Age did it because God disappointed them in some way. They had this unrealistic expectation of who God was because they don't know who He is. And when He disappointed their expectation because they're not God, God is God, then they go find another God that can answer them quicker. It's almost like a man who goes and cheats on his wife when she's not doing what he wants her to do. It's not like a spiritual adultery is a thing, right? And so I would say anybody that wanted to kind of start, like God told me I was a prophet of God, but I started as a daughter. So God put me in the office of a daughter, right? If y'all knew how powerful a daughter was, one of the Greek definitions of a daughter is peculiarly cared for and protected by God. Like He is so obsessed with His girls. Like that's the best. You play, like that's why I don't even worry about nobody playing with me. I'm like, girl, you will get your... He said, if you touch Tiffany, you touch the apple of my eye. That's in Zechariah 2. He said, I'll be a wall of fire around her. What's the fire in the Bible? It's the wrath of God. You touch me, you coming against God. You understand? When you notice yourself, like, I don't care what background you came from, I don't care what you're into right now, I don't care none of that. You can even still be in it. You know, when you're in the presence of the enemy, he transgenders. When you're in the presence of God, he transforms. So you can go in the presence of God and you can still be who you are and say, teach me how to be a daughter. Teach me how to be a little girl. Teach me how to not be grown. I'm not grown in God's presence. I don't know nothing, you know? And when you start from there, your discernment gets stronger. Your love and intimacy for God gets stronger, which means you don't make certain decisions. You actually start respecting yourself, so you're gonna dump that man anyway who ain't doing nothing but giving you big dick. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's small. Destiny-destroying relationships. That's what it is. And it's like the enemy planted this person in your life to literally keep you backtracked for 10, 20 years. But because you've been bewitched, you can't see it. And so there's so many benefits on redeveloping your relationship with God, and one of them is getting out of a really bad relationship and saying, you know what, it's like you'll wake up one day and say, oh my gosh, what is this? It's like the scales come off your eyes and you leave a person that you've been with for 20 years with no residue on you. That's when you hear those stories that 4 months later they met their husband. That's how that is supernatural. Yeah, it is your story. That's exactly what happened. And Zoe was like the perfect person. Like, I love Zoe so much. And
more than you love me, but
no, I do. It's true. I love Zoe more than Zoe quote me all the time. Hey, since we come to cover by God, all right, I got y'all seats right up in the front. But like, it's the perfect story. It's like you'll waste your time in this destiny-destroying relationship, and as soon as the bewitchment leaves your eyes, because that's what it is, you're bewitched, then God says, finally, I can move. Because he does give free will. So as long as you're playing God, he's like, you seem to be playing an awful God, but I'm gonna let you do your thing. And let me know when you want me to take over. Then I'll do my thing, you know? And then also, there's so many rules and legalities in the realm of the spirit. I'll give you a quick example. You talk about, how many of you feel like you've had, like, right at the edge of breakthrough, you fail? So like, everything's going great. Right at the edge of that breakthrough, something fails. You're in a great relationship, and every time you get in a relationship, it goes good for a month, and all of a sudden, it just dries up. That's a spirit of abortion. And so many people that have had physical abortions have a spirit of abortion that follows them. And if you did not have a physical abortion, somebody in your bloodline did, and it's a covenant. Let me give you, I gotta get this example because it's gonna be good. It's gonna free somebody in here. So whenever you have an abortion, or your mom or your grandma had an abortion, you have a covenant with somebody named Moloch. It's a demon in the Bible that was used to sacrifice children, right? Covenants are still very real. So even if the person dies, the covenant is still alive until you stop being bewitched and break it. So when I got saved, I started to have cramping in my abdomen. Because remember, I got saved having an abortion. It's probably like my third one. I don't have no shame because there's no condemnation. I feel like when I tell my testimony, people are like, she's so free up here. She's not no shamed about it. I feel like that's what brings freedom and liberty to everybody. So it wasn't my first one. I was a fool a few times. You understand? And so here I now have cramping in my abdomen, but I'm saved. Because that's your question. How am I saved and I'm still going through this? There's a covenant at work. You understand? So I go to this church meeting, and for whatever reason, there's this white lady, and the color doesn't matter, but it kind of did, because she was like, say, 70. And she was talking about how she just had abortion like 20 years ago, and I'm like, 20 years? That's 50, so what are you doing, preacher? Having abortions. And she had found herself in an adulterous relationship with another pastor. Now, why I thought that was powerful is because your testimony is actually a warfare tool against the kingdom of darkness. Because it was her testimony that made me come up and tell mine, right? And so she tells her testimony, and I walk up because she also was gifted in the spirit of miracles, in the gift of miracles. And I go up and I whisper to her, and I'm like, hey, I have this cramping in my abdomen. Thank you for sharing your testimony. She goes, have you had an abortion? And I was like, I'm still shamed it a little bit. So I was like, yeah, a little bit. She goes, did you break the covenant with Moloch? And I said, well, I ain't never been with no man named Moloch. You ain't gonna put me with no man named Moloch. I just ain't never been with him. And she was like, Moloch is a demon in the Bible that you made a covenant with, because when in the new covenant, when the blood is shed on Jesus Christ, you come into the new covenant. But when they do witchcraft, they kill chickens, they kill goats, and they kill babies. And when the blood is spilled on the abortion table, that is a bloodshed. That's a covenant that you've made with the devil. And so even though I was saved, and if Jesus came that day, I would still go to heaven, I was still going to suffer the consequences of the sin I created, which was the sin, the curse of abortion. Everything I touched aborted before it was finished. So what she did, because it gives the enemy legal right to attack your life. So what she did was she said, repeat after me, and you can repeat after me now. She said, Father, in the name of Jesus, and I said, I repent for the sin of abortion. I repent for the covenant I made with a demon named Moloch. I come out of agreement with it. I renounce it. I denounce it. I divorce myself from that covenant. And I am now fully in covenant with Jesus Christ. And I give him rule, reign, and dominion over my womb, over my body. Because remember, that was in my abdomen. So there was an attack on my womb. There was a spirit of death that had hit my womb. After she broke that covenant, then she spoke to the spirit of infirmity. And she said, you no longer have legal right to her body. I command you to go. I'd had that pain in my abdomen for 8 months. I went to the doctor over 5 times. They did transvaginal ultrasounds. They couldn't find nothing. Normally when you go to the doctor, they can't find nothing. It's a witchcraft attack. So they couldn't find nothing. The second I broke that covenant, she prayed against it, it left. It never came back in my life. That's what let me know how powerful covenants are. Let me say one more thing, and I'm going to be quick about this. So, let's say every one of you have doors, right? So if you live in Alaska and you leave your door open at night, what animal could come in? A moose, a polar bear, cartoons, If you live in New Orleans behind a swamp and you leave your door open at night, what could come in? If you live in New York City and you leave your door open, what could come in? A rat. If you live in Nigeria and you leave your door open, what could come in? A mosquito with some malaria in it. Okay, you're Nigerian, oh? Okay, I'm Nigerian. So anyway, what's my point? The point is, all of them had the same sin. The door was open. Depending on where they lived, depending on what came through that door. That's good. What I'm saying is all of you can still have the same sin of abortion or sex outside of marriage, or whatever your sin is. You might see somebody else's be light, and yours is like you going through hell. Why? This person had a praying grandmother that's keeping them afloat until they decide to repent. You got a family full of witches and warlocks, you just don't know it. You got a family full of Freemasons and Eastern Stars and you just don't know it. So you both went through the same exact sin, same open door, but depending on where you came from, depending on what came through your open door. So y'all just need to break covenants. There's a book I want you to read called Deliverance from Demonic Covenants and Curses by Reverend James Solomon. You can find it on Amazon. They have audio, ebook, and all of that. That book will blow your mind and save your life.
Yes. Is this good so far? It's Tiffany indeed. I'm like, I don't even know, but
I could not have a shallow conversation. I was so deep.
Tiffany is literally my spirit animal, y'all. I wish I was like as bold, as courageous. She knows. I'm always like, fight for me, Tiffany. Okay, so going back to entrepreneurship and how you build your audience and how you built this loyal, like these people, y'all say something about Tiffany. They will be outside of your door really, really fast. So you've built this loyal audience and you've also built a multi-million-dollar business. Give us some tips on how you've done both.
It was totally mindset. Let me say this. I started off with a limited thought that I couldn't make over $10,000. Let me say this. I would not put $10,000 in my bank account. I would just keep it at my house. Why? Because I came up with drug dealers. When they put $10,000 in, their accounts got frozen. Isn't it funny that you can latch on to the mindset of somebody that you're not even doing what they're doing? I was never in the drug world. I never trafficked, I never sold drugs, nothing. But because that was the company I kept, I adopted their thought process. And so I was a bad steward over my finances because now I had latched on to something that didn't belong to me. And it wasn't until somebody said to me, well, do you sell drugs? I said, no. So you're not gonna put your money in a bank account? The second I started putting my money in my bank account, it started to grow. Something simple as that let me know I literally have to change my circle. Like I have to change who I'm around. And it's not that you even need to change who you're around in regards to finances, because there's still plenty of people that make money that got bad integrity, bad character, they whack, they stupid, you know what I'm saying? But it's about people that have the same morals that you have. And so I had to start in my mind thinking that making $10,000 in a day was easy. You have to start there. You have to say to yourself, even if you think it's hard, you have to start changing your mind and say it just literally can't be that hard. Like whether you have to trick your mind or not, that's where it started from. So I started making my money. Mind you, I'm a college dropout, none of that. I remember I charged my first course, I think I was charging like $100 an hour for. And I remember people telling me like, you can't charge that, lawyers charge that, doctors charge that. And I'm like, so y'all can't? Like I have like, and so actually my goal was to build a multi-million-dollar solo business. I didn't want any employees, which I still currently don't have. I didn't want any employees. I hire out if I needed a website design and things of that nature, but I have absolutely no employees. I answer my own email since 2010. I write my own email since 2010 because I studied copywriting and I'm very good at writing. I do all of my own social media content across the board, but I love it. I love it. And so one thing I noticed, because I have a certain personality, I come with a certain set of skills. It's like Taken. Y'all ain't never seen Taken? Okay, thank you. And so you have people that are like, maybe you should do it this way, or if you had this kind of personality, it would take. But I looked at people, because my personality doesn't change, and I was just telling Skittles, I said, I did nails, I'm from New Rochester, New York, and so I had my nail license when I was 16, and when I did pedicures, normal people want their foot, all the calluses taken off, right? Normal people. But I had a set of classical dancers that had to have callus right here and right here. If I shaved it off, it would damage them for their work, and they wouldn't be able to work for a while until the callus grew back, right? And so that's when I learned that everybody, what I want you all to take away from this is whatever your personality type is, keep it. Unless it's evil, unless it's wicked, unless it's full of fear. But you don't have to change who you are to try to get more people to follow you. Because the more I was who I was, the more people followed. The more followers I had, the more people wanted to sign up. And there was somebody that said something to me on social media, and I thought it was the best compliment I had ever received. They said, I might not like Tiffany. And I might not agree with nothing she say, but she's not a liar. I said, that might have been the best compliment anybody could ever give me, because I had built a brand with people knowing I might not like her, but she doesn't tell a lie. So I did my thing. I built it. I kind of kept my head down. God calloused me in certain areas, so when people said something about me, it didn't faze me. And then I also looked at people like Judge Judy, who's absolutely my favorite judge in the whole wide world. If I did anything outside of what I was doing right now, I'd be a lawyer and I'd be a judge. I would never lose a case. I would not lose a case. I have defended myself one day in court. I said, Your Honor, I'd like to submit evidence, one, for this case. And the bailiff was like, you did an amazing job. I said, thank you. But yeah, I just kind of built everything from the ground up that way. And I went to online entrepreneurship in 2010 because I didn't want to work at a building. You put me in a 9 to 5, I was going to leave a little early, I was going to come in late, I was going to talk throughout my lunch break. You was going to fire me anyway. So I kind of picked a job that worked well for me, worked well for what I designed in my mind for my lifestyle and for my family. I wanted to buy all of my properties cash free. I wanted to be debt free, which I currently live now. And I just, my life just followed what I designed in 2010.
Wow, that is so inspiring. Even to have you as my friend and just see us continuously grow and just, y'all ain't gonna lie. When I flew in the other day, my husband was like, we're going to church. I'm like, okay, on a Thursday. He like, yeah, we're going to Tiffany church. I'm like, okay. And so when I got there, 4,000 people.
And I told him about it on Monday. I was like, I'm sorry for telling y'all last minute. We have a church on Thursday, and it was 4,000 people in there on a Thursday, 3 days later.
And the most dynamic energy that I've ever seen.
And I have 5 hours church services.
Yeah.
My services are not an hour long. By the time you're out done with 5 hours, you're like, people walk up to me and like, yo, it feels like I was there for 30 minutes. And it's all types of people. I made this girl come up with me, and I was like, why are you not dancing? And she was like, she didn't feel comfortable because she like stripped. And I was like, well, if you can dance for men, you can dance for God. Get up here with it. I gave her a flag and everything. Like, it's no shame up there. And I looked at her, she had an ankle bracelet on. I said, I'm up there talking to her while I'm preaching. I said, you know, so it's like, I love that people feel as harsh as I may seem, or as black and white as I may seem, I love that people still feel like she tells the truth and I'm gonna come there because I need to hear the truth, you know? But we are in there for every bit of 5 hours and we have a good time every time.
It was 5 hours, so it was like, honey, is it a cafeteria? But no, I love what you've been able to build. And so some of you guys may be in this room and may have heard or may have heard of Tiffany from her very viral post. Anybody know about it? This and I'll make a little laugh. About her very viral post about, Beyonce. And I'm not gonna lie, like, again, I told y'all Tiffany is my spirit animal. I am not as bold, I'm not as outspoken. I mean, y'all know, like, people come for me every day, y'all never hear me come for them. And I kind of like just sweep it under the rug. And girl mom makes some noise in the building. Okay, so let me tell y'all what I do. When I'm in drama, I honestly felt like Girl Mob is my safe place. And when I'm in drama, I'm like, here's the link, Girl Mob, go. And then those comments of Girl Mob members are like, not you coming from our like, I'm like, great. I could just stand on my soft girl era. Because Girl Mob got me. And so with that, it was so heavy of, like, I think we were in Miami. I was sending Tiffany articles. I'm like, should I say something? She was like, girl, no, like, I'm good. I'm on a beach. I'm in the Bahamas. Like, I'm chilling, literally unfazed. And I would be under a rug somewhere, like, delete it. I'll pay whatever. That would be me. So for those, even myself, right? I'm going to speak openly about myself, and y'all might feel me. Okay, so my husband was like, we can't go to the Beyonce concert because I was in the front row when Tiffany said that, so I can't be no hypocrite. I was like, okay. And so then every time, it came up closer, I was like, should I be getting an outfit or no? And he was like, no, we not playing with Tiffany. I was like, okay. So the day of, I don't know what it was, his friend had sweets or something.
Well, Zoe called me. He called me.
The day of, he's like, I'm gonna call Tiffany. I'm gonna buy these tickets, and we gonna be on our way there. But I'm gonna call Tiffany first. And if she say don't go, we about to sell these tickets. I was like, I'm getting dressed because okay, because
He's like, hey,
honestly,
sis, what you doing? I said, nothing. So what you up to? He's like, oh, nothing. All right, so we got these tickets to go to Beyonce, but if you don't want me to go, sis, I ain't going. I ain't going. You know, I serve Jesus Christ. I love Jesus.
he said, I'm gonna get a couple of people saved in the audience.
I was like, here's the thing. It's what I told him. I was like, you're grown, right? Like I said, what I didn't say it. God said it through me. You're grown. Do what you want to do. I love you. It is what it is. Like I'm not going, but like I didn't say it. God said it. So, but it was the funniest thing. I laughed so hard. Then she called me 10 minutes later. Hey, sis, what you up to?
I couldn't have the conversation. I'm like, so we might be listening to Beyonce in the bag. We won't really see her. Like, I'm so soft. But no, like for those that serve God, but like also I live in a shell, right? Like I don't search many things. Like I'm not the person that's like, oh, what's sage and what's this? Like I come from church, so it's just like me and my bubble, right? I don't really know much about anything outside of that bubble. So when you were saying what you were saying, I'm like, oh my God. And I'm now still scared to research it because then it's like, if I know about it, then I have to make a decision and be responsible. So I kind of would rather know about it. But for those that do, how do you feel? I don't even know how to do this question, guys. I want to know, like, how does someone that serves God, but no, not just Beyonce. I might go to Taylor's. I might go to any concert that is not a gospel concert specifically, right? So is it just Beyonce or is it any worldly?
So let me give you
anything of the world.
Yeah, so let me give you an example of God, right? Whenever you get saved, you are in a marriage. You have now said, I am married to God. Similar to you getting married to a man or woman, or the guys in here. Okay. You're married now. Now, some marriages only want monogamy. It's just me and you. You were jealous over each other. You better not never talk to nobody, sleep with nobody, flirt with nobody. You're my husband. Then you have some marriages that have open marriages, right? You are allowed to have sex with other people or bring them in. Well, Christianity, God is a jealous God. He don't play that. He don't want to be your side chick, your mistress, nothing else. But in Hinduism, they don't mind you worshiping other gods. They have an open marriage. You see? So take that into perspective when I give my analogy about the Beyonce thing. God is jealous. There's only one God he wants you to serve. It's him. He don't want you to play about him. With that being said, and I love that she said that. If I know what she really does, I'm going to have to be responsible, and I still like playing around in that area. The issue is not that she was brought up in church, because she was brought up in church the wrong way. They didn't do church right? But she also doesn't read the Bible. So,
I do now.
okay. I'm with you. But
That's why I'm up here and not y'all.
That's right. But when you study the Bible voraciously, there's certain things you just won't do that you will do. So when you look at Beyonce, she talks about the God she serves. Obviously, I go to Nigeria all the time. Like I go to Nigeria, like, hey, can you go to Nigeria with me tomorrow? Like I just came back last week. I go all the time. When you go there, you realize that the gods that she's talking about are West African gods. They don't even play around with them. You understand? These are gods of fertility, God of abundance, God of wealth. She is worshiping her God on stage because you have to worship them publicly. You have to there's no God that wants you to worship them in private. Like you're going to have to one day talk about them. And so here you have this person that is letting you know, I delve into this area. I no longer serve your God. I serve these gods. And now the money that you are on your knees begging God to make, God, if you can give me provision this month. The same money you begged God for is the same money you now give as an offering to a woman who serves a witch, or like a witchcraft. You now take your money and put it on the altar of witchcraft. And then when you read the Bible in Acts 19, remember she had everybody dressing like a disco ball? In Acts 19, there was, Apostle Paul preached a powerful message. After that, there was a man who was a silversmith who created a silver altar of a woman named Diana. And because the altar was now threatened because of a preaching that Paul did, they threatened to kill Paul. There's a reason why she had everybody wear that silver. That was a ritual. So when you take the scales off your eyes, you see that. My message wasn't to non-Christians. I told it in the context of Covered by God. I was at my ministry meeting. I told it to the people watching. Because God wanted that. Here's the crazy thing about this. Covered by God, I've had this ministry since 2020. I've never asked God for a message to go viral before. I asked God for that message to go viral before I said it because of my guest speaker. The same person whose book I told you to read was the guest speaker, and he prayed some powerful prayer. He said, these prayers I'm going to pray tonight is going to go back in the grave 40 years ago and get back the promise that died. So I said, for that fact that this prayer is a covenant-breaking prayer, let it go viral. How did God make it go viral? By the Beyonce post. So there was context to nothing I had ever done had gone viral. That didn't go regular viral, it went global. Tiffany could have, the best HR person could have never did something like that. It could have only been the hand of God that warned those people about that conference. And people come to me all the time like, well, I didn't like how you said it. And here's the thing about that. You might have not liked my delivery, but you didn't like my delivery because it brought forth deliverance. And whenever you bring forth deliverance, it agitates your pet demons because you want to keep them, right? And so, yeah, it's going to be very hard when you are, God is not, he even says, I'd rather you be hot or cold. But if you're lukewarm, I spit you out. He hates lukewarm. He hates it. So I'd rather you just be off me or just all the way on me. But this little lukewarm thing you running around, I don't even like you at all. And so that's what it was really all about. God is wanting a people, just like you would want your husbands to make a decision. When he said he wanted to marry you, why are you still out here putting your dick in everybody? You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't act like I'm the only one. Why'd you put your dick in everybody? Because he wants you to make a decision. How long will you hawk between two opinions? Whose side are you on? And that was a defining moment to see whose side you were on. I saw pastors' wives go there. They should have never been at that conference. And so it's not just about going to worldly concerts. It is that she is very loud and vocal about being in witchcraft. And I think that no Christian or no believer should go to the concert of anybody that is in witchcraft. I think it is a complete...
Okay, so this is the thing. And this is what I told Tiffany too. I think I told you. Okay, so how would you, if Beyonce was like, I want to talk to her?
I talked to Michelle.
And what would you, like, because I think this is the thing that me and you, like, I've grown up with pastor parents or minister parents. I've seen them condemn so many, like, oh, why are you wearing that? Oh, your dress. Oh, no, they can't be in my church because they do this or they do that. And I'm like, aren't these the people we're trying to save? Like,
It depends. Let me give you an example. When I first got saved, I operate very evangelically too. So I'm like, come to church and people are like, okay, I'll come. I had this girl come and she was like a dancer, and there was another girl that I had to come. And maybe a month later, she came in, she's like, I don't feel comfortable. My young girl that was a stripper, she would come to me, she's like, she made me uncomfortable, I don't want her around me. And I'm like, what'd she do? Like, I think she's cool, what did she do wrong? And she said after church, she keep offering me weed gummies and asking me if I could sleep with her boyfriend. So if you didn't know what was going on, you would look at what I did was condemning, because I said, you gotta go. Because now you're a wolf, and I'm trying to care for the sheep. So there has to be a point where you are not wolf conscious, you're sheep conscious. And you're old enough to know that you shouldn't be coming after this girl like this, because she's about 20 years younger than you, but y'all all grown, so you're not a pedophile, but kind of. You gotta go. But because I don't share people information, you would then look at me and say, well, she's condemning her. Why does she have to go? So I think it's context, because I think in your situation, you grew up with really religious parents who did it wrong. So the perspective is different. Me, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at how many witches I bring to Christ. I went to Jamaica one day, and me and my friend were both prophets. We were sitting talking just in front of a fire pit. We were just at our hotel, and a lady came and sat down, and I immediately knew she was a witch. And I only knew that because there was so many seats around, and she sat next to me. I knew immediately, that was how I knew. I was like, so she was talking, my friend was asking her, she's saying she was doing a documentary and how she loved Jamaica and all of this stuff. And so I was like, what do you do? And she was like, oh, the documentary. And I go, Becky, are you a witch? And she was like, no, why would you ask me that? And I said, you're just kind of giving me witchy a little bit. And she was like, no, not me. And I said, what's your Instagram? And her Instagram literally was like, which I live, love, and breathe. And it was like, literally, it had witch in it. I said, why did you tell me? And she said, does that mean I'm a witch? I said, yes, girl, you know it. I said, would you like to give your life to Jesus Christ before you burn in hell for the rest of your life? I'm also very funny, so you can't help but, like, she laughed while I was saying it. She wasn't offended. I'm like, okay, yeah. So what was funny was when she sat next to me, because she sat on the edge of the fire pit, when she sat down, it's like, we watched it. The fire pit came and it touched her and it literally burnt her. I said, baby, it's a lot hotter than that. Where you going if you don't get saved? And the crazy thing about it was when I was praying for her, she was like, I keep hearing them tell me not to listen to you. Right? And so she was really a witch. So I think it's context as to, do you condemn people? Would you talk to this person? Of course, but it does not mean I'm not going to warn a grandmother. I'm not going to warn the parents, hey, stop letting your children go to this house because the grandfather's molesting everybody. Tiffany, would you talk to the molester? Sure. But I'm also going to warn them not to let their children go there. I think you can kind of marry the two together.
That's good.
Protection and also teaching. I can protect the sheep and also talk to the wolf. I do it all the time. I talk to some of the most heinous. There are people that email me and say, Tiffany, they deal with bestiality. And I'm like, I'm going to call the police on you. Where is the dog or the horse or the goat?
What?
Yes, bestiality is when you have sex with an animal. It's disgusting. I'm like, this is too much for my pay grade. You got to pay somebody else. I ain't been trained for this yet.
No, I think it's so important. I think this conversation was so important because oftentimes, let me tell y'all, I'm just naturally used to like, okay, put Beyonce on my story. For a whole month, I was like, Tiffany, oh my God, I'm scared. I don't know what's going on, but I need to do more research. And I think for most importantly, for those that are trying to seek God, this conversation should have taught us we have to do more research.
There's some things you're going to have to let go of.
Yeah.
There's some things when you give your life to Christ you can't hold on to. When you get married to your husband, there are some relationships you want him to let go of. There's some inordinate relationships you want him to like leave. So it's like when you get saved with God, there are some things you can't listen to anymore. There's some things you can't participate in anymore. There's some conversations you can't have anymore. There's some things you can't be privy to anymore. I know you gotta go ahead. I just want to say that. Some things you gotta deny yourself. You can't substitute it. You gotta let it go.
No, that's amazing. Tiffany, where can they find you? How can they go to Covered by God? Did y'all enjoy this? I know this opened up Elevate real spicy. They like, whoa. Did y'all enjoy it? Yeah. Did y'all learn a lot?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Tiffany Montgomery. I spell my name Tiphani Montgomery, and on YouTube at Tiffany Montgomery. And I also have a fast coming up. Our fasting is called the Year of the Bride Fast. And for 25 days, we will be fasting for marriages and all of that. Even if you're in a marriage or you want to be married or you want to heal from something that was bad, join this fast. We'll be abstaining from food between the hours of 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. every day for 25 days. We're going to bombard heaven regarding your marriage, and we're going to turn the spirit of abortion around, and everything's going to change in your life. Restoration is your word for the rest of the year. And let me say this, because I know you got to go. Let's stand up so that you know I'm leaving. So this is the fourth quarter of the year. And one thing I want you to recognize is during the time of track and field, they always put the fastest person on the fourth leg. Okay? So it doesn't matter how slow everything went for you in the first, second, or third quarter, the fourth quarter is going to be the fastest leg. And whenever God creates restoration in somebody's life, he adds speed to it, because speed has to come into play for what you lost for so many years of bad decisions. So keep in mind that fourth quarter, I know many of us are planning for 2024, but there's still things this year that God promised you that will come to pass before the year is out. So keep that in mind. I love y'all. Coveredbygod.co. That's the website. Coveredbygod.co.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Secret Recipe Podcast.